And the reality is that Islam is not a religion of peace by any stretch of the imagination. It is not currently, and it has not been historically, a religion of peace. It is a religion which, at its core, has the doctrines of jihad and martyrdom. And yes, it is possible to dance around these terms and to talk about jihad as a spiritual struggle, not so much a holy war, but jihad historically and textually and presently is regularly construed as an imperative to fight in the name, in defense of the faith, and martyrdom is virtually always construed as the great benefit that falls to a person when he dies in defense of the faith. And millions and millions of Muslims believe these doctrines to be true, metaphysically true, and we have to talk about it. We have to be honest about it. We have to point out that this is a deal breaker in a world where destructive weapons technology is spreading unchecked, virtually unchecked, and there's just no possible future in which aspiring martyrs, people like the 19 hijackers, are going to make good neighbors for us. And we're not going to have a Cold War with an Islamist regime, a true Islamist regime, a regime that grows dewy-eyed with thoughts of paradise when they get long-range nuclear weapons. And the Muslim world has to be openly in dialogue with itself about these facts.
I'd like to read you a quote from Letter to a Christian Nation on this topic. The truth, astonishingly enough, is this. In the year 2006, a person can have sufficient intellectual and material resources to build a nuclear bomb and still believe that he will get 72 virgins in paradise. Political correctness and the fear of racism have made many reluctant to oppose the terrifying religious communities of extremists in their midst. This does not bode well for the future of civilization. I mean, forget the future of dialogue. You're talking the future of civilization. What's your prescription? What's the way through this?
Well, I think civilization has to present a united front, truly united front against religious extremism, and to speak specifically of the Muslim world, Islamism. So, for instance, we cannot allow people like Ahmadinejad of Iran to play the short-term interests of Western powers against one another. So we can't have France and Germany divided from the U.S. on questions of whether to sanction Iran because they're concerned about their short-term economic interests in Iran. And likewise with Russia and China and India. I mean, we need first world, reasonably secular democracies that has some common conception of human rights and civil society to really stand united against this death cult that is brewing in the Muslim world. I mean, and cease to apologize for it. We have a disastrous mix of the civilized world being divided against itself and played against itself by people who really are the enemies of civilization. And it's a difficult situation because in the U.S., I'm increasingly worried that Americans will begin to feel that the only people hard-headed enough to deal with the religious lunatics of the Muslim world are the religious lunatics of the West. And that's scary because the people who speak most candidly about the problems of Islam in America right now are our own religious demagogues. And the people who speak most candidly about the problem of Islam in Western Europe tend to be fascists and anti-Semites and people who you would not want to have common cause with on any other subject. And so this is a bad mix, and we have to find, secular, moderate, rational, liberal people need to overcome their political correctness and talk about the differences among our religions. I mean, all our religions do not teach the same thing. All of our religions do not avail themselves to this kind of death cult of martyrdom. And we have to talk honestly about it, and in this case, oblige Muslims to talk honestly about it.
You're pointing towards another terrifying wrinkle in all of this. If the religious demagogues in the West, who are part of this picture, would view the end of the world as something to be devoutly welcomed, that's frightening.
Oh yeah,
because paradise lies on the other side of World War III, right?
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the lunatic fringe here. I mean, some of these people are lunatics, but they're not the fringe. I mean, we're talking about people who get interns placed in the White House. I mean, for instance, this college, Patrick Henry College. It's got 250 students. It's only 6 years old. Every one of these students signs a pledge of faith upon matriculation that reads, "All who die outside of Christ will be confined in conscious torment for eternity." I mean, this is what these students believe. Ask yourself, what university places more interns in the White House than any other university in the U.S.? I mean, is it Harvard? Is it Princeton? Is it Yale? Is it Stanford? No, it's Patrick Henry College. And these internships really matter. And we have organizations like Christians United for Israel, which lobbies the current administration to take a very hard line with Iran for biblical reasons, because they think that a nuclear confrontation with Iran will be Armageddon and usher in the second coming of Christ. People really believe this stuff. We have to realize that they actually believe what they say they believe, and we have to delegitimize these beliefs. We can't be polite about these beliefs anymore, and we have to cease to promote people to fantastical responsibilities who believe the ludicrous things that many, many millions of Christians in the West believe, and many, many millions of Muslims throughout the world believe.
What's the line, though, Sam, between tearing down those walls of politeness, between a fear of speaking out against religion, because religion has been an untouchable subject for so many for so long? What's the line between that and telling people how to worship, telling people how to believe, telling people what their spiritual religious lives should look like? Isn't some of that out of bounds?
Well, it is out of bounds, and it shouldn't be. All I'm arguing here is that we need new rules of conversation. I'm not arguing that we need laws. We don't have to make any mode of worship illegal. We don't need to lock people up for believing the unbelievable. The thing we have to notice is that we don't pass laws against stupidity, and we don't lock people up for being stupid, but we don't respect stupidity, and we don't respect strong claims to certainty on little or no evidence, or in spite of mountains of evidence. So, the person who denies the Holocaust, for instance, that person, by committing himself to this untenable infatuation, has really ruled himself out of any serious conversation about European history or probably anything else, and that is a good thing. And we don't have laws to justify that, although Western Europe, many countries do, and I think that's the wrong thing. I think it's wrong that Austria locks people up for denying the Holocaust, for instance. I think you should be free to say anything you want. You should be free to put your foot in your mouth, but when you do, there's no burden upon others to respect you for it. And we obey by these rules in every other area of our lives, and we do not, just imagine the political ramifications of someone coming forward saying that they are sure that Poseidon is still a valid god and is in fact responsible for Hurricane Katrina and the tsunami and other maritime disasters. It's a completely unreasonable thing to say. It would be.
Hold on, don't you get angry mail? Don't you get angry mail from Poseidon worshippers when you go public with this?
That's a bit of a surprise, but yeah, now I do. I get hate mail from people who actually believe in Poseidon.
Just an aside.
You can believe that.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's, what's funny about that is how preposterous their position is. Everyone is surprised to hear that, and it's such a surprising comparison, the biblical God to one of these dead Greek or Roman gods, that most Christians can't even hear it as an appropriate analogy. When I'm in dialogue with a Christian and I say, well, neither of us believe in Zeus, and neither of us have proved Zeus to be absent from the universe. Can you prove that Zeus is not an invisible god somewhere? No, you can't. But is the burden really upon you to prove that? No. The Christian doesn't recognize how apt an analogy that is, because it's just so obvious that Zeus is imaginary. And yet the God of Abraham has exactly the same status. And it's time we talked about it. It's time we taught the Bible as literature, because we are living in a world which has been shattered by literature, been shattered by the claim that certain books are not just